Hey everyone, this is Jay from the Orlando Tourism Report, 91.5 WPRK, the best in basement radio and the voice of Rollins College. I'm here today with a special guest, Austin from Turnover, as well as Nick from Turnover. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Hell yeah.
Doing great.
Hell yeah. So you actually have a strong connection with Orlando. You talk about it in your song Board of God / Orlando, falling in love with your wife here in the city of Orlando back in 2015. What does this city mean to you?
I've always liked Florida a lot, but yeah, I think that was the Pianos Become the Teeth tour. Maybe it was Sea Haven, but we played, I think, the Social. It's that venue that's kind of like right in that strip downtown. And at that time, me and Morgan weren't dating yet, but she was on a trip down here to visit her family, and kind of divine timing just put us together, and we had our first little date, and the rest is kind of history. So now I love Orlando even more.
It seems like there's always something to do here in town. It's just an active community. This is where I met my girlfriend as well. It just feels like it's a great place to bring people together. Always families vacation here, so Orlando's a great place. That song, actually, you've never performed it. Is there any chance you'd perform it in Orlando?
Never say never, not on this one, just because so much of the songs are peripheral vision, so we're kind of only playing select ones afterward. But I would love to play that song. I love it, but I don't even have the keyboard on this tour, so not tonight, unfortunately.
No worries. And speaking of like venues that you guys have performed at, this tour you've gotten to perform at some of the craziest venues in the world, really. Red Rocks specifically. What was it like getting to play there? The Greek, some of these just unbelievable venues.
Really terrifying, for sure. I think that the biggest headline show we'd done before that was probably around like 17 or 1,800 people, other than at a festival. And Red Rocks is 10,000, so about 5 times more than we're used to playing. So I was shook to my core, but also incredible. And I think it's probably the coolest venue in the world. I mean, the fact that it's in a beautiful national park, it's like it's all seats, but like everyone can stand and still move around. So like people were still dancing. Amazing vibes the whole time. Beautiful. Everyone at the venue's so nice because they work in the most awesome place ever. Really nothing negative to say about it at all. The Greek, kind of the same thing. I think I like the Red Rocks a little bit more just because the Greek is like actual seats, like assigned seating. That's the other really cool thing about Red Rocks is even though it's all seats, 10,000 GA, so you can go anywhere you want. But yeah, all the shows have been amazing. I mean, the Aragon in Chicago was probably right up there with Red Rocks just because it was like a giant club show. Like there's still a floor, so people could push around and crowd surf. So it's been the best shows we've ever played. I mean, inspiring to say the very least. I mean, I knew that people loved peripheral vision, but this tour has been super eye-opening as to how much it's connected with people, which is, yeah, I mean, the whole reason we do any of this. So inspiring in an amazing way.
No, it's really awesome. Seeing you guys on stage, like on that stream at Red Rocks, was really cool. You looked really stoked when you were playing like those new songs specifically. Just at that point, it was like, man, you could really tell the energy was hitting you at that point. It was just really cool to see. So with 10 years of peripheral vision, like you were saying, what's it like having an album that people say means so much to them, connects with them, and how do you keep that energy going into like your next album?
Like I said, man, I mean, I of course knew that was like the album of ours that people seem to connect with the most, and I love peripheral vision and always have a special place in my heart because I also wrote it at that time in your life when you're going through so many mental changes and a nostalgic period. But yeah, I mean, to this degree, I really had no idea, and that's been the other thing is I think that it was kind of a slow burn because I mean, we have been playing a ton of those songs for a long time, and when it first came out, we were certainly not a big band by any means. So it's funny the way that time changes things and how things catch on, and I mean, it's definitely, I mean, I've never felt burnt out as an artist or anything, but I definitely feel a crazy sense of renewal with it because like my favorite album of all time is probably Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, and when that first came out, like I think he was probably a similar age when he wrote it. Not that the music is similar anyway, but an album about adolescence and changing mentalities and it also wasn't that popular when it first came out, and then a ton of people connected with it, and just how that he's always been a musical idol of mine, and how that affected him mentally, I feel like is kind of similar to some of the mental stuff that I've gone through with reflecting on what the art means and how much you should cater to what people want from you, because ultimately if your music's not connecting with anyone, is it just self-serving? But at the same time, you also have to serve your own creative drives. So it's been, like I said, just super inspiring. And there's been some synchronicities as well, because we finished an album earlier this year before the tour happened, and just coincidentally, the songs are all, they're not like Peripheral Vision, but it's not, disco and funk music as much. It's kind of back to like, some sadder songs, faster songs, more rooted in like, rock, alternative rock, punk type stuff. So I feel like we kind of naturally found our way back to a sound kind of like, probably I would say people will say it's the most similar to Peripheral Vision since Peripheral Vision, almost certainly. And doing this tour directly after finishing that album has been really cool too, because we're playing a couple of the songs off it, but it is also getting me stoked for when that album comes out and following this tour up with that. So everything's feeling like it's lining up in a really cool way at an awesome time that feels sort of set in line by the universe or Mother Nature, or whatever you want to say. So yeah, it's great.
Now, speaking of other records that you guys have put out, one that I honestly feels like kind of has a Beach Boys vibes to it as well is Good Nature. That's coming up on its 10 year as well. I feel like that at Red Rocks would be insane. What do you think of that? Would you guys want to do another anniversary tour, or do you guys want to just focus on, new music tours?
We probably won't do one for that, just because, we put out an album every couple of years, so at that point it'd be like every other tour is an anniversary tour, which I don't really feel like we're in our anniversary tour era quite yet, but, Peripheral Vision was so special to everyone, of course, and also I feel since, we literally, I don't even know if we ever did a headlining tour on Peripheral Vision. Like, when it came out, we just did support tours for like 2 years, and then by that time, Good Nature was out, so Peripheral Vision is a strange one because it was kind of our catapult into what the band has become, but it kind of never really got, like when we did Myself in the Way, we kind of did a Myself in the Way release tour, and we played, almost the whole album. But when Peripheral Vision came out, we were doing support tours, and I was just talking to our tour manager about it last night. Like, we'd be one of 3 on tour, so we'd play like 5 or 6 songs. So it kind of never really got a chance to be played live in a setting where people really knew it or cared about it for such a long time. So this one felt like it had kind of been like waiting to.
You brought Citizen along this time, right? Because you guys were with them on that for Peripheral Vision initially. You guys were with Citizen so much. You guys are with them now. Full circle.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's like I think the one we did with them, the ones that I remember directly after PV were Pianos Become the Teeth, Sea Haven, Story So Far in Basement.
Sorority Noise and Milk Teeth.
Yep.
That one. That's the one I went to in Tampa.
Yep.
Sick.
And that was a nice little era. And then, Citizen, I think 2016 was that tour. And then that was the last one we did, like, together, just us, and then we did another one with them in 2018 with Story So Far. But it's been a long time. When we were figuring out who to bring on this tour, of course Citizen came to our minds almost immediately because there's always been such a tie between our bands. But I was like, I don't know, we've toured with them so much, and then I was like, oh wait, it's been 7 years. Time flies. So yeah, having them, Balancing Composure, Tiger's Jaw, it feels like we really got exactly who I would want to have it, because they're such integral parts of the community that we come from. And for the past, number of years, I feel like we've sort of stepped outside of the scene a little bit, just because we have other musical interests and other friends whose music we like that we've tried to showcase through the tours and stuff. So it feels cool to come back to like playing Red Rocks with Tiger's Jaw and Balancing Composure, and literally having 10,000 people there for all 3 bands was amazing.
It seems like you guys are almost summoning Title Fight there. You both, Nick and Austin, were wearing Title Fight shirts. You did Head in the Ceiling Fan for Mic Check. I think that's pretty cool. Hopefully one day we get to see them come back and perform at Red Rocks.
Love it.
Yeah, it'd be pretty sick. I want to talk about somebody that had a lot of impact on your band, John Slaby, who unfortunately passed away last year. Can you just talk about him and some of the impact that he had on the band with the merchandise, posters, and even the Good Nature album cover.
Yeah, I probably can't talk about it as deeply as Danny could. He was the closest with him because he's sort of the art arm of the band more so than myself or Nick. But I definitely knew John, and he was an incredible and inspiring artist. And the first record cover he did for us was actually the Blue Dream EP, and we of course admired his work so much because he's done all Title Fight stuff. And another sort of sleeper artist that I feel like after he's gone will be appreciated to a degree that he wasn't in his time. I mean, of course, he was a very successful artist, probably just to the degree that he would have liked to be, because he liked to just be able to be low-key and skateboard in Pennsylvania and be in Philly and, live a normal life. And I think that's really the little things in life are what inspired him and inspired his art. So I think that that went exactly how it should have gone. But yeah, I mean, he was not his death in any way, of course, but how his career as an artist went. I think he was able to create exactly what he wanted for himself, whether it was consciously or subconsciously. And yeah, I mean, a huge inspiration. And I'm just so happy that we got to work with him in any capacity that we did with the albums and anything that he did for us, because along with Title Fight, on a visual level, he was an artist that feels like he came from our community, that we were able to, ultimately, along with the music, that's one of our biggest goals, is just to work with our friends, and he's one of our most inspiring friends that we've ever encountered. So
absolutely, his art really is incredible. I have a Good Nature print still, signed by all you guys and him, and it's something that's right in my front room. Like, I look at it every day just because it's a real piece of art. It's amazing. Nick actually joined the band full time since our last chat. Nick went from writing articles on USA Today to selling merch. I just want to know what's it like joining the band full time, from going from someone that was just kind of hanging out with the band and assisting, to now writing on the records and everything.
It's awesome. I love Turnover, and these three have been a very consistent and funny and big part of my life for over half my life now. So being at the House of Blues in Orlando on a Tuesday in June is, I don't know, it's trippy sometimes. The ultimate answer is just that I love it.
he's a beast. He wrote a bunch of stuff on the new record, myself in the way too, but even more on the new one. And I would say it's probably it was collaborative in a way that hasn't been in a long time. Like, we were in the studio kind of just writing stuff sort of from scratch. And yeah, it's amazing to have him as an addition, because writing music with Casey and Danny is also amazing, but the more collaborative you can be is always awesome. And one of the few things where I feel like having more cooks in the kitchen a lot of times is actually beneficial, as long as you trust everyone around, which there is a large degree of trust. And I feel like we all have different enough music tastes while still being into the same stuff to where it makes a very dynamic group.
That was nice, man.
Kind words. I think that's really awesome when you can just naturally become closer friends with your circle and everything. And I think that's what's definitely happened here. Something else that you do, new side project, Toy Problems. Super cool. I'm super into electronic music outside of just things in general. How did that come to be? What are some of your inspirations there? It seems like maybe some Aphex Twin, and there just seems to be a lot in there. Curious what inspirations you have and what led you to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked electronic music for a long time, but I was kind of like a surface level listener for, the early part of my life. In the last probably 7 years, I've gotten more into actual techno that goes to Berghain, basement style techno. So that's kind of my main focus. I haven't really put anything out in a while, but yeah, it's nice to be able to do other music than Turnover. I feel like it lets me flex other creative muscles that then let me let go of the reins from Turnover in a certain way that then allow new ideas to come about in Turnover. And I learn a lot about other things that work their way in. I mean, especially with electronic music, especially techno, it's so like rhythm based, and it's kind of similar to punk in a way that it's like, you know, a lot of people that don't understand the niches of it will be like, it all sounds the same because it's just a 4 on the floor kick drum, but there's so many like polyrhythms happening kind of in the same as a punk song. You know, a lot of people will just think it's like goo-ga, 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 but there's little things happening here and there that of course make it so very different. So I feel like I've learned a lot from doing that. I would say some of my main influences are like Birmingham techno artists like Surgeon, Female, and Regis, and the stuff that kind of became like the minimal Berlin techno sound. But yeah, hopefully I'll have some stuff out in the near future.
Just have a few more questions here. Someone that I heard you guys may have been working with on the new record is going to be Wisp. And you know, I feel like they have definitely a lot of electronic vibes to them, and you have been incorporating a lot of electronics, you know, into your previous music, like Myself in the Way, for example. Is Wisp an artist that you would like to work with on, or can you say that you've worked with them on this next record?
She's not involved in the Turnover record in any way, but I have lived in LA for like 2.5 years, and I've worked with her on a few of her songs. She's great, really young, really talented. I worked with her through my friend Max, who does the project Photographic Memory. So yeah, she hasn't worked with us, but I've worked with her, and she's great. There's actually pretty much no electronic stuff on the new Turnover record. It's pretty much back to 4-piece guitar stuff. So, but yeah, she's awesome.
Oh, for sure, that's great. Wisp is a really awesome artist. I found them recently just through like Porter Robinson, and I was like, wow, this is sick. So that's great. I think a lot of people are excited to hear that. You know, heading back towards like the Peripheral Vision era, a lot of people always at the shows are yelling, "Play Sasha, play Sasha." It seems like this upcoming week that might happen finally. You're playing a big show, coming back to Virginia Beach. Can you say anything or tease anything about what may be played there?
Have to tune into Nugs and see.
A song on the another song that you put out called Stone Station. I think it's really cool. Sounds really ethereal. Sounds like there's a lot. You know, it sounds like there could be a lot more meaning to that song. Is there anything to that song and the following song that mean anything to you specifically?
Tears of Change.
Stone Station. Yeah, Tears of Change.
Stone Station was the name of the road that I lived on in Sebastopol when I lived in Northern California. So that album is kind of in a big way like that, and altogether probably more so Myself in the Way are a lot of my experiences like through COVID in Northern California. It's a really beautiful but trying place. It was like a lot of years of like fire evacuation and seeing the area change a lot with like tech and the wine companies moving in and buying up land and people getting pushed out. And you know, just when I was over COVID, instead of being a touring musician, I was like painting houses and at the volunteer fire department. So I feel like I got to experience a little bit of a different side of myself. So yeah, Tears of Change is kind of about that. Stone Station is just a guitar progression that I wrote that I thought sounded really nice and jazzy, but I was, you know, trying to do a little bit more electronic stuff, so we put it on a synthesizer instead. Those two songs weren't originally even supposed to go together, but transposed it so that they were kind of in the same key. But yeah, that's the meaning behind the name.
It's really cool. It's some of my favorite music on that record. My favorite song though is Pleasures Galore. Is that a theremin? What is that? Like on the song?
The lead lines? It's on one of the synths that we had for the album. I might have been the Korg MS-20, or it might have been a synth called the Blofeld. I think it was one of those two.
It just sounds so sick.
Yeah, originally I had a lot like similar to People That We Know. It was kind of composed as like violin and horn lines, like Quincy Jones disco style stuff. But since we already had that on kind of vibe on a couple of the songs, I was in the later stages of it, I was listening to Talking Heads, and I was kind of thinking we should change it to be more synthesizer sounds. So yeah, we changed it to that, and we had a bunch of synths in there at that time, and yeah, ended up going with that, which I'm happy we did. I feel like it added some nice dynamic.
It's sick. I feel like it, oddly enough, it's very like Fleetwood Mac in a sense. Like it's sweet. 2 more questions for you. So what record was each of your guys' favorite to record out of everything you've put out to this point?
To record?
Yeah.
I guess the logistic answer is Myself in the Way, because the new record's not out, but the new record is amazing. I'm so psyched for that, and yeah, I don't want to beat that too hard, so I'll pass this on.
I would definitely say the new one. I mean, it's really hard to choose. They're each so special for their own reason. I'm always, of course, excited about the one that's about to come out when we record it. Looking back, Peripheral Vision was really special too, just because Magnolia was kind of like a trying time for the band, a lot of like member changes, and it was mostly just me, Danny, and Casey, so I feel like it was kind of like a huge learning experience because it was our first LP, which also made it very special. But Peripheral Vision was, we felt like, I don't know, very free at that time, because we were kind of at the point where we were like, if this doesn't work, we're all kind of happy doing what we're doing in Virginia Beach. Like, let's go make a record. If it doesn't take off, who cares? So it was really nice. I mean, I love recording all of them because working with Will is so fun, and they've all been so different, and we've gotten to experience different creative parts of ourselves. But the new one was really fun. I mean, having Nick feel like, he was fully in the band because it was the second one. We did it with Zach, who's our front of house engineer, so it's like another member of the band. He's with us all the time. A brand new studio, so it had a certain novelty to it that we haven't had in a few records. We kind of wrote it a little differently. Like, I would say it came in less composed than the last few. A lot of the songs were kind of like, we have this riff, I have a chord progression and some lyrics. A bunch of songs were meant to be like 3 different songs that we would like transpose apart and work it together, and they like divinely worked so well together, better than we thought they would. There's like weird things on there, like sounds we captured, like music concrete style, like out in the world, that were managed to be in the right tempo and the right key of songs and stuff. So felt like there was a lot of magic, and I love disco music and funk music and electronic music, and it was fun to incorporate that stuff into Turnover stuff, and it's some of my favorite music that we've made. But I feel like now, especially doing the techno music on my own, I feel like it's sort of like Rolling Stones when they like made their weird records and then came back to blues rock. It's like, I feel like we've all kind of been like, Turnover is, I still love Peripheral Vision. I still love all the types of music that we were listening to when I made Peripheral Vision. And I feel like we've sort of circled back to be like, we love making this kind of music. Like, let's just make another record like this, which felt cool because it was like kind of easy. You know what I mean? Like, we're all so much better musicians now. It feels like if we would have wrote Peripheral Vision and all the songs wouldn't have been 8th notes on the A string, you know what I mean? Like, Peripheral Vision, sometimes I listen to it and it's not very dynamic, which it has a special place in my heart because I was such a kid when I wrote it. But I feel like it's cool to come back to, alternative emo indie rock as for more versed musicians. Casey's such a better drummer. Me and Nick are such better guitar players. Danny's such a better bass player. So it felt kind of cool to come back and be able to flex that new, musical prowess, I guess.
And then my last question, I want to end it on a light note. Your 2 pups at home, can you tell us about them? One of them is missing their eyes. I'm really curious about that, and what made you want to adopt. What drew you to that dog specifically?
So our older one is Theo, and we've had him since 2017, and when we got him, he wasn't blind. He was a rescue, adopt, don't shop, always. but he went blind when he was like 3, and he's happy as hell anyway. Dogs are amazing because they're not attached to what their life used to be. They're just fully in the moment. And I mean, it's like having a special needs animal, I feel like, makes it even that much more special because no one else wanted. Sorry, I get emotional talking about him. But it's like no one else might want him or anything. So I love him a lot. And Zuzu was even more. She had no eyes. She was like on the street till she was 3, and we already knew how to take care of a blind dog, so it was natural. She's amazing.
No, I think it's really great. You could tell how much you guys love them. It's so cool to see the Instagram posts that both you and Morgan share on social. So I do just want to thank you for that. Awesome. But thank you guys so much for this interview. It was really great catching up with you guys. Is there anything you guys want to plug or anything?
Thanks for having us. Stoked for everyone to hear the new record. And show in Orlando should be sick. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you so much.